Greetings, music lovers. I'm Roger Bowie, and this is my interview series for music.net.nz. And today I'm talking to a man with two personas, so it's a somewhat schizophrenic subject matter area. And Mac Summers releasing his second, I think it's his second single tomorrow, Web of Life, and it's categorized as dance music, EDM, which is a broad church, but it's one, frankly, that I don't attend. So when Mac turns up, he can explain it to me. While we wait for Mac, let's hear about his other persona, legendary in his own right. Perhaps you're not quite so familiar with Malcolm Welsford, unless you read the small print on all your albums and your CD covers from the 90s and the noughties, or you wait till the very end of all the awards ceremonies and the annual music awards, the ones that come around when you're probably already too pissed to remember. Those are the ones that go to the producers, and also founder of the legendary York Street Studios here in Auckland. So let's say, well, welcome to Malcolm. Malcolm who?
Hi, Roger. How are you doing? Nice to be here. Nice to be here from my bunker.
Take us through your early career to start with, Malcolm.
Early career. Oh, well, I always wanted to get into recording, and when I was about 13, I bought an old 4-track TAC recorder and tried to teach myself. And then I went down to Wellington. Probably when I was about 19, I guess, 18, 19, and started recording reggae bands at a little studio called Frontier Studios. And a good friend of mine there, Mark Ingram, he's worked on a lot of albums over the years. He kind of took me under his wing, and I basically learned how to record, I guess. Got thrown in the deep end. And then I sort of moved upstairs to Marmalade, did some work up there, and then finally moved back to Auckland because I was born in Auckland. And just started recording, worked at Mandrill for a while. But all the studios were going out of music and into post-production because there's no money in music anymore. So I found a property in York Street, a big warehouse, and thought, oh, let's build a studio.
Mandrill was with Phil Rudd. With Phil Rudd, was I right? Am I right?
No, Phil, he was the AC/DC drummer. He had a studio down in Tauranga, I think.
Oh, okay.
It was Tucker, Glenn Tucker.
Okay.
Glenn Tucker. Yeah. So I worked out of there and started. I guess I was just freelance, finding bands, recording them. And then moved across the road into the warehouse and bought that old Neve, that old Neve that used to be in EMI Studios, and
that's a 1974 version, I'm told.
Yeah, 1974. Yeah, 1974, and that was absolutely amazing. No automation, tape machines, old school.
Where is it now? That console? Have you still got it?
No, Tom from Shehad, he bought it, and I'm not sure where it is now.
Right.
Yeah. So he's probably recorded a few records on it too. So I'm not sure what he's done with it, but it'd be nice to have it back.
Well, of course, there's one sitting in at Roundhead. You can probably go and play on that one.
Yeah, it'd be worth a fortune, recorded lots of bands, and moved out to Carry for a while at Nigel's house where they did Together Alone. So did a few recordings there, and then moved to America.
We'll come back to that. I just asked my music collection about you, and look what happened. Boom, pacifier.
Yeah, well, I didn't actually record those ones.
You didn't do? Did you do this one?
So
she had.
Yeah. Started to devolve and Killjoy, and the Fish album. You'll have that there.
You did that one, right?
Silencer. I did a couple of songs on that.
Yep. And you did these fellas, Super Groove.
Yep.
That's
Super Groove.
Cool. And you did this. I
did one of the songs on there.
One of the songs. All right. I just listened to that. That still sounds good.
D4. Yep. There was a live recording during that. That Flying Nun did a live 24 hours, and we did all these live recordings of one of the songs on there, and they played on Letterman, actually, one of the songs. So, you know.
Now, what about this one? Do you know who that is?
Yep.
I bet you never thought I'd have this one here.
No, I didn't. That's great that you've got that. You know, Dan and Tom would be very happy.
So tell us about Indicator Dogs. Why have I got this album?
I'm not sure. It was just Dan would just write some crazy stuff, and I just loved I don't know, his crazy ideas. His timing was out there. It was sort of quite toolish, really, back in the time. Similar to Tool, just the timing, the time signatures, and it's something it was a challenge, and I just really got into the music. So
and they only made one album, I think. Yeah?
They made two.
Made two. Okay.
Yeah. So
I remember now. I was.
I mean, it's got to come back to me. It's going back a bit.
I was working with Val Bunting at the time. Val Bunting, the bass player.
Yeah, Val Hunting.
Val Hunting. Yeah. So what? Pick out a few of all that time. All those bands that you've been in and around. What would be your most memorable moment?
Oh, well. Yeah, it's hard to say, really. I mean, I had quite a few memorable moments when I was recording the Feelers.
Yeah.
As you can imagine. But to be honest with you, Roger, the whole time was a bit of a blur. There was just so much going on, so much recording, really working, 18-hour days all the time. And I mean, I have to sort of go back and relive it and think of stuff, because it was crazy time. So
there's a book.
I had to try and think of one single thing. I really couldn't.
No, I appreciate that. But there's a book. There's a book that will come out one day, I'm sure.
Yeah, I've got to start writing it at some point.
And look, gold albums, platinums, multi-platinums.
All of those. Yeah. I think between the Feelers and Super Groove, there's probably got to be a good 12 platinum albums there.
Yeah, very cool. Very cool. So and then in 2005 you buggered off to LA. So what was all that about?
Oh, well, my girlfriend at the time, Natalie, her father used to manage Black Sabbath, and they lived in Beverly Hills, and her father did. So when we were traveling through there, I thought, man, I got to come back here. I had a great time, as you can imagine. And everyone said, oh, no, you can't go there. You got to get a visa and all that stuff, and it's impossible. But it's not, So I worked out how to get one and moved over there and just started recording artists, developing bands, meeting people. And of course, there's a lot of people to meet. And but they love the Kiwi accent, so in a way it kind of made it a little easier, and I met
I was going to ask you, how do you get started in a situation like that?
Well, first thing I visited all the recording studios, so that was a good start. And I came across Paramount Recording, and the owner, her wife was a Kiwi, so we got on really well, and they gave me a really good break. And then I found some other musicians like Monty Pittman, who plays with Madonna, and their drummer, and I found all these great musicians, and then just started developing artists. And I guess Adam was one of my first ones to develop.
Yeah.
Just tried to network, and it was something I hadn't really done. I was really just happy being in the studio, not talking to anybody. And all of a sudden I have to actually go and talk to people, So, so I guess that was pretty good. I guess that was good for me. Yeah.
Are all producers like that? Are all producers like that? They'd rather hide away in front of the console?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think so.
Is
Hide away in the, obviously you get, it's one thing communicating with the musicians, and you kind of have that sense, and it's like you feel comfortable with the musicians. But as soon as you start getting managers in and record companies, it's like,
yeah,
it's a little bit of a stress, because I'm just not. Well, at the time I wasn't used to dealing with corporate people, or even just the public in general, And I think a lot of engineers anyway are hermits, the ones I know anyway. So anyway, I guess that was a good experience. I had to come out of my shell and just put all that fear away and just get on with it.
Yeah. Okay. No, I can imagine that the whole process is so intense that you don't want to be interrupted.
Yeah,
so I apologize for being some random interviewer coming in and doing the same.
Oh no, it's good. The best thing about it was everyone over there is so encouraging, Yeah. And you might be sitting in the, A&R office, and I don't know, and at Universal, and they're just really into everything, and it just really gives you the confidence, and you feel a lot more relaxed. But the most important thing, it gives you the confidence. And I think in New Zealand, I noticed coming back that whole tall poppy thing.
Yeah.
People just don't like success, and that's a real challenge here, because it's such a small industry.
Yeah.
People should be, supporting each other as much as possible, and especially now, of course. But
yeah.
So that made it a lot easier to just let all that other stuff go and just be yourself.
Yeah. Very good. Well, I could talk all day about your years, as you can imagine, but I know you want to talk about tomorrow, and I'll now enter my discomfort zone and talk about EDM. Or actually, no, you'll have to talk about EDM. So now I'm talking to.
Electronic dance music, of course, is a massive subject, but really, it's really drum and bass. It's really liquid drum and bass. Which means basically it's melodic. So it's drum and bass, with lots of vocals and melody in there and cool little sounds. And I really just tried to do something different around electronic music, because it can get pretty bland. It's all electronic sounds, obviously, but in this case, I tried to incorporate a lot of real sounds as much as possible. And I was working with a good friend of mine, Miklos Power, who was in Australia now, who orchestrated a lot of the orchestral parts and the brass and all that sort of stuff, and tried to bring in a sort of a world universal kind of sound to dance music, basically. So that was a challenge. It just took a long time. I started working on it in LA, the ideas, but it just took a long time to work out how to do it, and just throwing away a lot of ideas and just trying to come up with something unique that no one else has done. That's a real challenge.
And are you? I mean, so is this your next? Is this what's going to preoccupy you for the next 10 years, or? Is this?
Oh, you mean between now and the book? You mean?
Yes. I mean, but no. Is this you coming? Out of the hermit kingdom and up front on the stage? Stage.
Well, that's a whole other. That's a hair-raising experience. But we'll talk about that in a minute. But I guess it's what I want to do. I didn't think I would be doing it, but I guess, in LA, I kind of got a bit put off by putting too much energy into other people's projects. people, I just don't think people appreciate what engineers and producers really do, and
Right.
you just put so much energy in it, and there's no reward, unless you sold 1 million records, which you might have one day, but and even then, it's an energy thing. It's not even a monetary thing. It's and I thought, well, I just might as well put that energy into my own music.
People understand intuitively the difference between a well-produced piece of music and particularly when an artist comes out and does something different or they're progressing. They understand it, but they still don't understand it, really. They don't appreciate it, and they don't know what's going on behind the scenes. It's just noticeable when an artist steps up and the producer has changed and the production is just, wow, out there,
Yeah, but it's really more the art at the bands. Do they appreciate it? It's hard to say, and maybe they might one day. But I got to work with Bruce Swedian, who was the engineer for all the Michael Jackson albums.
Right.
And he was my hero when I was like 13 or 14.
Yeah.
Like, this guy was just incredible. He did all the Quincy Jones albums and absolutely. And I thought, man, I'd love to meet this guy. And I actually got to work with him, which is just incredible. Out of all the people in America, and I actually got to work with him. And Michael Jackson even though he was the engineer, Michael Jackson gave him publishing on all the records. So he was like the fifth member of the band, unheard of, because engineers, they don't get any royalties. I mean, the producer would get royalties, and maybe songwriting if they wrote, a few words. But for an engineer to be recognised like that, I thought was just incredible, because he had such a skill, And I just, when I listened to that, I thought, oh yeah, I better just start putting the time and effort into my own music, And I'm sure people were rolling their eyes, a producer making his own records, own music, But hopefully, I think people are going to like it. I've had a lot of good results so far, so with the music.
One of the things I've learned in my lifetime is one of the things that life is about reinvention. There's a cycle will come to an end, and you have to start again and do something differently. And that's, so I applaud you. I applaud you. Web of Life is out tomorrow. There's a little bit of Ultravox in there for me.
Oh, good. Good.
There's
a lot of influences there. Yeah, good. I'm glad you like that.
And who does the BV? Isn't there a female vocalist in there, or is that you in a falsetto?
The vocalists are people really I've met, over the years, but from America and here. Her name's Scarlett. What I do is when I'm writing, I just stick some beats there, some basic melody, and just get people to just chuck ideas on me. Okay. No words, just melody ideas, and then I get the songs back. I chop it up, try and find some sort of structure, fire it back, and then they can start putting some lyrics in there.
Yeah.
And then we'll go backwards and forwards, and suddenly we've got a song. Or not, or just throw it away. But what I find is, the hardest songs, the ones that take the most time, and you think, oh, it's not working. If you spend the time on them, they end up being the best song. That's my experience, even with producing other artists. And so, I'd go backwards and forwards, putting ideas, and then we fine tune and come up with a song. So, there's quite a few songs with different singers on them. I didn't want to sort of stick to one single.
Okay.
And I think playing live, I'd like to have a few different singers. So that's sort of the process here with the vocals. What other influences did you hear in there?
Well, no, I just that's what jumped out at me. It was kind of like I'm thinking, well, if this is what dance is about, this is more prog dance, you know?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's what I got from it, because I'm an old prog guy. And so what are you going to do with it? I mean, there's a couple of questions here, because
Sure.
you've just indicated that there's probably quite a substantial archive sitting in there, which you might pull out one day and do something different with. But
Sure.
the question really is, what next? Is there an album? And talk about that, and talk about the touring side of it for us.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, there is a whole album and probably beyond. So yeah, I think in another 3 months I'll drop another song. Work out which one's going to work. Yeah, every time I come back to them, keep chopping them up and improving them. But yeah, I would say in the next 12 months, get this catalogue out, and then some of the newer stuff, maybe in a year's time. And yeah, really just focus on all the things we don't want to do, and that's the social media. Oh man, I tell you, like, releasing your own music, without a record label is just, it's a lot of work. People don't realize how much work there is,
Yeah.
So that's how focusing on all that other side of it. I think with Web of Life, I think I'm up to about 400 pre-saves on Spotify. So, that's, it triggers the algorithm, and then they dump it into a whole lot of playlists, and that really helps. So, and it's going to really set up the other songs that I've got to finish and get out there. And I think they're just going to get better and better.
Yeah. Cool. And then you'll go on the road when you can.
Well, you tell me. Depends what happens with COVID. I'm supposed to be playing some festivals in the new year. I've only managed to play one festival so far. The plan is to play some more festivals, and I'd really like to get back to America and do some gigs, and Australia as well. Australia's actually, this week I've already done quite a few interviews there. I think radio going to pick it up over there.
Cool.
Life. So yeah, I really want to get to Australia and United States, but who knows what's going to happen with the COVID thing. We're just going to have to see what happens.
The life is different. There'll be a way. There'll be a way.
For sure. That's right.
So do you see yourself as a festival sort of stadium guy, or would you do smaller venues, or does it just not work that way?
I think smaller venues. I think especially when you're starting out. I mean, festivals are great. Pretty stressful though. You're on a stressful. It's very stressful doing a festival because you're swapping over really fast, and it's just there's a lot of stuff going on. I think with shows you can keep it smaller. You can play with some great local artists, and a lot more fun. So I like to just do some more smaller gigs when they venues open again and all that sort of stuff.
Where are you now physically? Are you out west, or?
I live 1 hour north of Auckland.
You're in north of Auckland now. Okay.
Yeah, little fishing village called Lee.
Oh, you're up in Lee. Okay.
Leigh.
Yeah, I know Lee. Yeah.
Oh, it's great. I'm just walk down to the water down there, and it's a nice place to be. Nice place to, But of course, I'm just very close to the sawmill.
Yes.
Sawmill.
Yeah.
And I've obviously, I've been engineering a ton of bands up there. It's been fun because it was just such a great way to getting back from LA to reconnect with the music industry. I really lost all my connections, and it was a great way to reconnect and just meet people again after how many years it was, 10 years or whatever it was. 10 years I think it was. And it was just great to just be able to meet everyone again and dive back out in, and it was, of course, I did quite a few shows with John Toogood, and it's just great to just meet everyone again, and very blessed really. So it'd be great to do a gig up there soon.
Yeah, Oh, well, I hope
And
so.
yeah, so I kind of had to just stop producing and just do gigs and just as an engineer, sound engineer, and just focus on the music. Yeah, it all worked out.
Well, mate, I'm about. It's about a wrap. It's about a wrap now for me. But
Okay, Roger. Well, yeah, thanks for the interview.
I'm very pleased that we've had the chance to talk. I've learned a lot. Every day's a school day, and
yeah,
it's been very nice to meet you, and really wish you well with the release of the new single tomorrow, and onwards and upwards.
Thanks so much. Thanks, Roger.
Okay, take care. Cheers,
Okay.
mate.